Hey guys, welcome to Jen's Lemonade Life. Today's video is inspired by Ace of Clay. He does fun clay sculpture creations. One of his series, he goes to thrift shops and buys like ceramic glass figurines and then turns them into completely new creations. And I thought it would just be fun to try my hand at it. So I'm actually in Utah visiting family and a friend, and thought they got a lot of good thrift stores here, so we're gonna go inside, see what I can find, and see what this turns into. So we ended up going to two different thrift shops and just checking out all the little figurines and deciding. I actually brought home 3. You'll see the others in other videos. And just checking on all of these, looking on the bottom and giving them a tap to make sure that they are ceramic, unlike this one, which those might be some sort of plastic or wood, not really something you want to bake clay onto. So making sure it's the right type of ceramic, and then just checking them out, seeing if I get any inspiration for what I would turn it into. So there is the dog that I ended up getting, obviously, for this video. But just all the fun, just examples of things that you can find. It'd be awesome to hear from you what you think you could do with some of these. Do you instantly get some inspiration on how you can transform these? Let me know in the comments down below. And then, obviously, I brought this one home and went to town with it. Now, I had just returned from a vacation to Hawaii. I was on the island of Oahu and just thought that the mountains were beautiful. So I took some clay. This is polymer clay, and most of my old stuff is way too dried out, but I had 3 packs in 3 different colors that were in good condition, that were unopened. So I just warm it up with my hands, knead it, and then I roll it through this pasta machine that you just saw on the thickest setting. Could have probably gone thinner, but it's fine the way this is. And then I just put it on there. It's really technical. But making sure that I get it in all the grooves and everything's evenly covered. I do thin it out in some areas, but I want to make sure that I don't have any of the original ceramic exposed anywhere that you would see up top. The bottom's fine, no one's gonna look at that. But just covering it up really well. And then I got this set of tools actually from Wish, thinking of getting a second set for fondant, like for cake decorating. But you can see here I am making grooves. Maybe not the most realistic, but you know, I tried. I give myself an A for effort, and I'm okay with that. This was my first attempt, and I knew that a mountain was not the most challenging thing. I mean, the challenge is to create something completely new using a basic form and just building from there, and that's what I did. And you can see here I'm adding little strips of clay and then blending it in, smoothing it out, because I can't really make crevices by digging in, right? I'm just going to run into that ceramic, so you kind of build it up that way. That's what I've learned from Ace of Clay. I don't think I've watched all of his videos. I've definitely watched all of his thrift store transformations like this. But I had to decide if I wanted to make this realistic, if I wanted to do something more cartoony, if I wanted to try to do things to scale, or if I wanted to put like trees and flowers on it. Because, you know, if I did it to scale, they would just be tiny little dots practically. So you will see in the end what we came up with. And also make sure to stay tuned to the very end, because I am inserting some pictures of the mountains in Hawaii, just some ones that I got from the car or when we were at sightseeing points, just so you can see how beautiful they were, and let me know what you think about how well they match up. Anyway, getting back to this, it did not sit flat, like there were some gaps when you just set it down on a table, but I wanted to make sure that it sat perfectly smooth, because that's kind of the way mountains are. They go straight into the ground, they don't have gaps. So I'm just adding that on the bottom. I probably should have done it a little earlier, because now after I get it even, then I have to, well, right here I'm kind of making it so it attaches better to the bottom, but here I'm extending the lines, the details that I had already put into the top. And just smoothing things out, making sure we have natural bumps and texture, if that makes sense. I have a little texturizing tool, which is actually a ball made from old crayon wrappers that I boiled. It was a project gone wrong. Here it is. It actually is really great for texture. So if you don't have something like a ball of crayon wrappers that have been boiled, you could take maybe some like aluminum foil. But here's how it is pre-baking. And then after baking, I added a little something. You will find out again, if you wait till the end, you'll see the genius idea of what I did. I added a little notch, as you can see here. You'll see what that's for in the end. But now, as I have baked it, made sure not to over bake it, and a little bit of gap on the bottom, I'm okay with that. So we're gonna be painting it. I decided it was best to do all of the brown rock parts first. Now most of the mountains there that I saw were very colored in dark green, lush foliage. But some of them do have little rocks kind of jutting out, is that how you would say it? Just sticking out. So anything that I thought might have a rocky surface, I painted. And then I can, if I decide that I have too much or not in the right place, then I can just paint over that with the green. But I do the dark, and then I use lighter colors and do kind of dry brushing to give it just a little bit more realistic 3D texture. Obviously mountains, dirt and grass and foliage, I mean, they're not just one color, so give it some dimension. And then once I'm done with that, I went for my green. It's a very nice dark kind of foresty green, and I don't think I've seen a green quite that color on a mountain here in the mainland, at least not where I've lived. Because of the unearthly yellow, and maybe just in general, I did 2 layers on the green to make sure it was covered up well, and I used 2 different paint brushes because there were some really small details that needed a smaller brush. So again, I'm dry brushing here, and you can just kind of see it's kind of like moss or something overgrows. Nature doesn't do those like really sharp lines, so making sure that everything is just blended one thing into another. And of course, just like the rocks, the foliage needs a variety of colors. Do 1 or 2 that are lighter, and then I focus on the places that would be highlighted by the sun, and also the more recessed places. I did a darker color because they would have shadows in there. I also did a little bit with some yellow in it, just for a variety in color. Here is the finished product. I'll take off the flowers for now. Do I think that it is perfect? Heck no. Even as I'm sitting here, I'm like, ooh, I think my lighting wasn't very good last night when I was painting, and I can see like in the couple of cracks and crevices the unnatural yellow. But you have to kind of go looking for them, like they don't just stick out. And you know, I am not some amazing artist. Shading and highlighting and stuff, I'm not an expert at. But you know what? I think, gosh darn it, I think it's alright. Let me know what you think. I considered making this like have waves splashing out, because then it would be like it was one of the islands in the ocean. But I kind of wanted to leave it a little more open, so it could be in the ocean or it could be on the land. When I look at it, I will probably always know that that is the front of a dog. Let me know what you think of it. I have plans for the other stuff that I got, so stay tuned for those videos. Here you go. We'll put in to the little spot. Like, honestly, I'm glad I thought to add this little bit here, because I'm not huge into knickknacks. Like, I guess I just have enough that I feel cluttered enough, and like souvenirs I try to keep pretty minimal, from when I go on trips. I do a decent amount of traveling because I work for an airline as my day job. You can check out my travel vlogs on my other channel. There you go. I just think it adds that pop of color, because I had wanted to do like maybe add trees or add flowers on it, but if we're not going for cartoony and we're going for scale, anything to scale would be tiny dots and not look really good. So it adds that pop of color and it makes it useful, because otherwise, like, I have no need for a mountain. I appreciate you hanging out with me, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for joining. Bye.